Well, hello everybody. This is Paris Prokopis. Welcome to the Paris Prokopis Show in another location. Luckily, I have a portable green screen, and it makes it easy to do this show pretty much anywhere I want to do it. But that's all I will say. But I was going to do a show tonight, but I kind of got talked into it by somebody. So let's kind of see. Let's see who's logged in here. Carolina, Chris Lawrence, Hilario. My gosh. Fun. Hey, Chris, check your private message. At any rate, I want to talk a little bit. I had a bit of a surprise today. I got to give a little bit of backstory, first of all. Living in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, it's been, I moved here. Well, I moved here in September of 1982 when I was, I'm going to be dating myself now, but when I was 12 or 13, I just turned 13. And it was the same year the Brewers were in the World Series. Moved to Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, and I feel like my head's getting cut off here. At any rate, moved to Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, went to 8th grade at Whitman Middle School in Tosa West high school. And then I lived with my mom for a couple of years after that until I got married, moved away to Milwaukee, and blah, 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 blah. And in 1999, moved back. So I've been in Wauwatosa ever since 1999 now. And even now after the divorce and all that stuff, still in Wauwatosa. So I've been here a good long time. And I've done Wauwatosa to be basically a purple city. And it's interesting to see how it changed over the years back in the 1980s, 1990s and stuff like that. But it's always been kind of a 50-50 split, conservative versus liberal. Everybody kind of, I hate to use the word coexist, but everybody just kind of did their thing. And, me and my neighbor across the street would have dueling yard signs. I'd always have my sign out for usually the Republican, and she'd have her sign out for the Democrat. But we were always cordial to each other, nice to each other, and that's the way it was. Well, fast forward to a couple of years ago, we had Heather Cole is her name. She was an alderman that was elected, and she was elected, so give it much, but I don't think she campaigned on what she was doing in office. And ever since she's been in office, she is what you would call a very woke liberal. Woke. She thinks in order to make things better for one race, she's got to destroy another one, that type of thing. And, we've had our interactions at times and that type of thing. So anyway, but I also got private letters from many, many Wauwatosa residents who they'll send her emails. These are her constituents. They'd send her emails saying, blah, blah, blah. I didn't like the way you acted toward Chief Weber. I would expect you to be more professional, blah, blah, blah. She really hates the police chief. She hates police in general, it looks like. And at any rate, I did, or recently, someone sent me some screenshots of a Twitter handle, and it was some vile stuff. Well, anyway, this happened. Someone sent this to me on Friday. I couldn't do anything with it, but then Mark Belling and Dan O'Donnell outed this profile. It was a profile that she uses as a pseudonym, and I knew she had several profiles. I've seen them. I've been following them. And it was everything. And I kind of thought about writing an article anyway. Well, my good friend Chris Lawrence said, you should write an article. So I did. And the rest is history. And I have to say, I was shocked because basically in that article, I called for her resignation. And And today she resigned. I don't think I was entirely the reason she resigned, though I'd love to take credit for it, but I think it was kind of a group effort because I think since all this stuff started coming out, and she's been basically stirring the pot, stirring racial divides in our city. And I even made the analogy, and I'll probably read the article to you, but she made the analogy that, or I made the analogy that she's making it sound like we're living in the Jim Crow South. And the reason why I made that analogy is because in it, you know, someone mentioned it might have been of a stretch of an analogy, but according to Heather, she's like saying we've got to atone for the sins of our past and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, nothing's happened in the, let's say 30 plus years I've lived in Wauwatosa. You know, what sins do I have to atone for? It's a great place and a great lake. I think that was a Milwaukee slogan once upon a time. I don't know. Yeah. Stephanie says, I didn't realize the power I had. Oh, well, I guess so. I am awesome. But needless to say, Mark Belling today on the radio, all of a sudden he mentions my name and I'm like, oh, cool. I got a mention for Mark Belling. And usually that's a big deal because Mark Belling, he's very well respected in the radio community. He's even been a guest host several times on the Rush Limbaugh show. So this guy's got a lot of credibility. He has a show that a lot of people will listen to. He likes to stir the pot. And I think he's fair overall, the way he comes across. And, he read Heather Kuhl's resignation letter today on the air. And even in her resignation, she didn't announce her apology or anything like that. I'll give her credit for resigning. Okay, I'll give a little bit of credit. She finally got the message and that people don't want her brand of hatred. And that's effectively what it is. She was the one that ran around she ran around with this superiority complex, like Carolina said, and that's what it is. She definitely said it was a. Now we got to write an article about Nancy Pelosi. Get her to resign. Fat chance on that. It was just, today's been a whirlwind. I didn't expect what happened next. And Mark Belling talked about a couple things I said in the article, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden he goes on break. I'm thinking this segment's done. And then he comes back from break. And lo and behold, he reads the entire article. I'm like, wow. I had this, almost as if I was solely responsible for her resigning. I think that the article was probably the straw that broke the camel's back. But I don't think I was the sole reason that she ended up quitting. I'd like to think that was the reason, but really it was a combination of things. She's been getting a lot of pressure from several conservatives who would send me letters that they'd send to her and get her responses. Mark Belling's talked about a couple of letters and stuff like this. Is over the course of a while. So since she's been in office, we've had sanctuary cities. We have a quota committee, which is the diversity and inclusion committee. There's people that go to school and get a college degree in diversity and inclusion. What the blankety blank is that? Fact of the matter, you look for the most qualified people, and you hope that people of all colors apply. That kind of thing. It just baffles me. So they can go into a business and say, you don't have enough people of color waiting on your tables, so we're going to close you down. Is this what the inclusion committee does? And there's some people that are questionable that don't actually live in Wauwatosa that are on this committee. Really? And Heather Kuhl sanctioned that. And she also was the one to push for Joe Menza to be fired before any sort of investigation was even complete. she took advantage of the George Floyd situation. I mean, this shooting happened in February at Mayfair Mall. And he was cleared by the local fire police commission. It was up to the Milwaukee County DA to see who he was going to charge. And then last week, Wednesday, he came out saying that he would not be charging things. And obviously the shit hit the fan here in Wauwatosa, and everything. So, and I've been dealing with a lot of other stuff. So I couldn't get on location to shoot video and stuff. I was going to do some of that, and obviously going through what I've been going through with the passing of my father, and it just all this whirlwind of stuff happening all at once. And so Chris Lawrence is using the excuse that he's with his baby and he can't join. Tisk, tisk, tisk. So he's just not as much of an attention whore as I am. So, but so the article is on Wisconsin Conservative Digest. It's WC. Let's try it again. WCdigest.com or WIConservativedigest.com. Either way, Wisconsin Conservative Digest. And it's the article, hate has a home with Alderman Heather Cool and everything like that. So I was a little bit snarky in there, and I gave my 2 cents worth, but I basically called on her to resign. I think, all this stuff piling up and piling up. I finally had enough, and that's why I did that. And as I mentioned in my article, I have other people that I disagree with on the board, but they're at least professional and cordial. You've got one person on the county board. Thank you, Jacqueline. She says, I've been feisty for the last week or so. Glad to put all the energy in the article. If you only knew, Jackie, if you only knew. But I don't know. Yeah, I put everything I had into this article because I wanted to be truthful. I wanted to be careful that I didn't attack her personally, like her lifestyle or anything like that. I'm concerned about her ideology and how it's affecting our community. So that's fair game. And she put herself out there for that. And I also know that she's been communicating with people, some of the groups that are causing some of the violence in the area. She's been in communication with them saying, yeah, keep going, kind of encouraging it, stirring the pot. And she's a big reason Wauwatosa has turned into a mini Kenosha for a while. And I have to give credit where credit is due. Mayor McBride, for lack of a better word, I basically considered him a very solid left-winger, kind of extreme in a lot of his beliefs. And he was in way over his head. But the one thing he did right was to allow the police to do their job and have the National Guard here and all that stuff. That basically kept everything to a minimum. And lo and behold, if the police have a show of force, when the protests turned violent, they immediately acted with the tear gas and stuff like that. So the damage was minimal. And excuse me. So the damage being minimal, I mean, it really helped us get through everything, but I don't know for a fact that this is all over. I am concerned that now that the National Guard is gone and stuff like that, they'll see this as carte blanche to go there. Jackie, I sent you a present, so I'm gonna have a guest or two on tonight. I wasn't even planning on doing a show, but I was given a kick in the ass by oh, what should I call her tonight? I'll call her Barb, I think. I don't know. I always have a different name for her every time. Yes, because I screwed up her name because I was looking at Tracy, one of his posts in my feed, and then her name starts with an S, so I put an S on her and I said Stacy, and her name's Stephanie. So, yeah, whatever. I'm sure people have called her a lot worse things, but hey, I'm going to bring Stephanie, my here on there, and I'm going to add some more estrogen to my show too. I'm going to have a couple people on here. So here is Stephanie. How you doing, Stephanie?
Good. I didn't want to interrupt. You're doing really well talking about your article, so I felt bad coming on.
Oh no, I'll come back to that, but it's rather interesting. And now you're involved in the up north type in the Wisconsin Republican Party and everything like that. Yep. You had an interview with Al Jazeera today, huh?
Yes, I did. They came to the house, and it was like a 10-minute interview, and actually it wasn't even that. It was a pretty I don't want to say boring, but it was just asking what I'm seeing on the ground here and how I feel about things and comparing things to 2016. And there were no like gotcha questions or, they were very nice. I was like, oh, okay, that was easy. I wasn't sure what to expect.
Wait until they take words out of sentences and mix them around.
Right. Well,
and you're going to say, I like to eat dead cats or something like that.
I'll be curious to see what, comes of it, but I felt pretty good about it. I didn't feel like anything, went wrong. So we'll see. But yeah, that was interesting. I got a call from Al Jazeera.
Yeah, I actually interviewed with them once a long time ago. This was during the Walker recalls, and they had asked me to come to Madison to interview. So I was right in the belly of the beast on the street, and this guy had cut off shorts, sneakers, and a sport coat and a shirt and tie.
Okay.
and enough makeup to make Tammy Faye Baker look clean. I don't know if you know Tammy Faye Baker.
I don't know who that is. Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was before your time.
No, I do remember. That's funny.
They had what was the name of their church? It was like PTL. It was PTL. Praise the Lord. It was PTL. And we always said it actually stood for pass the lipstick. So
that'd be appropriate.
No,
they actually, they all had masks on, except the guy that was interviewing me had, when he was talking to me, had his mask off. And so it's just right in front of my house. And I wasn't, of course it was kind of funny because it was really windy. So they didn't want to come inside because COVID or, whatever. So, which was fine, but it was like starting to kind of drip and, it was a little rainy and windy. And I'm like, is this really the best place to have it?
Well, their microphones cancel out noise and stuff like that. So you're good.
Well, my hair is, I'm like, okay. They actually had to stop me and say, you got to adjust your hair. And then let's move back.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, you probably don't have to worry about that as much, but yeah. So
I've got the sass look. I've had the windblown look once before.
Okay, but you probably need some hairspray or something to keep it in place.
Some gel. Oh no, I was we were at I do use gel, I admit it. I like to look sassy,
Okay.
Go big or go home. But I was at the rally in Brookfield when we were first protesting Evers shutting down the state or whatever.
Okay.
And we're gonna have another guest. Okay, so this is gonna be Paris with a bunch of estrogen in the room. So
all right.
But anyway, I'll bring on Jacqueline. All right, so here we go. We're gonna go three-way. There we go. Hi guys.
Hey Jacqueline.
Hi, how are you?
Jackie, me, Stephanie, Jacqueline.
Nice to meet you.
So you've both been on my guests on my show before, so now I have you both on my show at the same time. And I want to do this specifically because you ladies are absolutely brilliant. And I want to get your feedback on the Supreme Court confirmation stuff and on what else do I want to talk about? The polling, your thoughts on the polling and everything like that. So it's I didn't tell you guys what we were talking about, but that is. And also if you want to talk about Wauwatosa, feel free.
And Biden's Hunter Biden and that whole thing with the emails. Somebody had the hard drive with emails
with
about
Hunter Biden's emails. Yeah.
Yep. So that's kind of an interesting thing to talk about too. So, but anyways, let's talk about what you want to talk about first.
I don't know what I want to talk about. Oh, take over my show, guys. I'll just sit back.
I
No, you
had
can
to
facilitate.
turn off the Supreme Court grueling questionnaires for a while because it got so ridiculous. And as a mom, as a working mom, it's like it's such a double standard in our country. And I see it on Facebook and memes all the time about mom self-care and how come people don't ask the husband when they go, to the grocery store with the kids, like, how do you manage all of that? It's like, wow, what a good dad. But if a woman does it and they're not approving of how many kids you have, it's, well, how do they do this? How do they do that? How can you go to work and make sure you're still caring for the kids? And I think we've really normalized that that's a double standard type of a question, but not when it is Amy Comey Barrett. Then it's off the table. Now we're allowed to question, how can she really do a good job? Now let's ask her if she's ever raped anybody. Now let's ask her these ridiculous questions. And I'm not laughing at rape, so I don't want that misconstrued.
It's so absurd.
Or
so
the
absurd.
fact that a woman can take advantage of a younger boy. That is certainly not the joke, but it's just the audacity. All the audacity.
Well, it's very hypocritical too, because I thought that liberals, I thought feminists were all about working women and usually they look down at, I'm a stay-at-home mom. And so, I feel like some of them look down at stay-at-home moms, but then, so now that they have somebody who would be the epitome of hardworking woman, successful, and she's got several kids, a lot of kids, and she's able to do it all. And it's and then now they're attacking her for it. So it's just, they're going to attack somebody, whatever side that they're on, because that's what they do.
and that's exactly what I saw. If it was a Democratic woman, it would have been, she is so strong, she is incredible, right. She does this and she does that. But because it's a conservative woman, somehow the type of woman you are matters to Democrats.
Yeah.
It's a big double standard.
We've seen this time and again, especially ever since Sarah Palin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she came onto the scene. Here she is, this self-made, started out with very humble upbringing, ascended, became mayor of Wasilla or whatever the name of the city was. And then eventually she took on the Good Old Boy Network and won. She's a working mom. She's achieved lots of things. She became the governor of a state, and they hated her. Why? Because she was pro-life. That was the one thing. She's the one woman we can't have her. She does everything that now always wanted.
Well, and it makes it so much worse for the Democrats to criticize it, because she's not only pro-life, but she's living the lifestyle. She has a teenage pregnant daughter at the time of her running with McCain. Her daughter was pregnant, who was unmarried and a teenager, and she had a child that had a disability. So you see these things where it's these are the types of people that are sought out to have abortions. They're supposed to be aborted. Those people are supposed to be aborted, but there she is parenting them.
Oh yeah.
And loving them as equal people.
Yep. But now fast forward. I mean, of course you have Hillary, she's the achiever. She was such a good mom when she was first lady or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then fast forward to Amy Coney Barrett.
Right.
The absurdity. I've never seen a woman. I'd never seen a man before, even Clarence Thomas, be asked, have you raped anybody? It's like.
It's just so unreal.
She claims she asked that to all the people. I don't know if that's true. She claims that she asked that of every, and I don't know if that's true, but but it's kind of absurd. I mean, okay, why are you? I don't know. Why are you asking that?
My questioning to that is, in that question, would anyone honestly, even if they did, say, yes, you know what, a few years ago I did rape this one person?
Right.
Would they admit to that?
Right.
And what is the point of asking that? Asking a legitimate question of how would you, open-ended questions.
Right.
But
It's kind of leading, it's trying to lead into like all these questions, like with Cory Booker, were purposely leading to like, they weren't trying to get an answer. They wanted to make it look a certain way just by asking the question itself. So it was all about political theater. And
yeah.
Oh, wait. This just ended. Gloria Allred just chimed in. She found that Amy Coney Barrett actually touched someone inappropriately in 3rd grade. She played tag. It was terrible. Film at 11. But that's I'm just this is absolutely crazy. Mm-hmm. So, and Sarah Palin is now single. All right, I'll get right on that. But anyway, so who thinks Tulsi Gabbard should challenge Maisie? She's the one that Maisie was the one that was of Hawaii. I think Tulsi Gabbard would be great. I don't agree with.
She's much better for a Democrat than most of them. So I don't mind her, but in some ways,
good.
Anybody would be better than
that's what I was
Toronto.
thinking.
I mean, oh my gosh.
I don't know about the other person. I feel like anyone could really, step in there.
Yeah. Excuse me. All right. COVID. Now you guys have it. Okay.
Good thing there's screens here.
Yes, absolutely. Here, let me bring us closer together. There we go. See,
well, I can read. Evers at one point was wanting everyone to wear masks in Zoom calls for the kids.
Oh yeah.
During the Zoom calls.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. It's ridiculous. I mean, people don't realize, tangent, of course, but people communicate with facial expressions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can, this is how everything is part of it. It's not just the words we say or how we say them, but it's the look on our face. It's the interaction. If children, that's how they develop. Mm-hmm. So your parents are wearing a mask all the time. You're walking around with your toddler, and they never see your face as a mom. As a mom, you're both moms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a mom, but I'm a dad. I can relate.
Right.
But actually, it depends how I identify today. But that's all right. But that's a different story.
Okay. I didn't know you were confused. I thought you knew.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
I'm just gonna stay like this. So now you can't hear a word I say.
And now it's all muffled. Jeez. I know, it's ridiculous.
But anyway, back to reality. And I mean, obviously you guys assume, I'm assuming she's gonna get confirmed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I believe it.
She was absolutely brilliant when she held up that empty notepad.
Mm-hmm. That was awesome.
It just goes on to just show how incredible she is, not just as a judge, but just as a woman in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just in all of those categories. And if you take the woman part aside, she's still an incredible judge.
Yeah.
She's an incredible mind. So not to say her mind is great for being a woman, it's she just has an incredible mind, and it's really cool that she's a woman.
Right. Exactly.
Well, yeah, and she's replacing Ruth Bader Ginsburg, another woman, well accomplished in her own right, good, bad, or indifferent. Mm-hmm. She was no,
agree with her or not, she was a powerhouse.
Yeah, powerhouse, no idiot. I mean, she did most of her stuff before she got on the court. Most of her achievements, so to speak. On the court, she really didn't do much, but her opinions were always, whether I agreed with them or not, they were always very well written. I mean, she either had a good law clerk or she wrote them very well for herself. They learned me good in school. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
They learned you.
I loved how she always dressed up her robes. I love that.
Oh, yeah. She did do that, didn't she?
She did. I absolutely love that, but that's just I like the little things.
The little things, the little ruffles.
Yeah, it's a little things. Like she just dolled that up a little bit.
I'll wear my ruffles. Here we go. I'll wear my pinky out. Okay, just stop it. Okay, no, but anyway, but I think Amy Coney Barrett is going to be phenomenal in the court. She's brilliant. She's a strong woman. She's very family oriented. Mm-hmm. And she's beautiful physically too. Mm-hmm. She's married, damn it. But just by luck. See, you guys are all married. Yeah, 7 kids. She's a busy woman. I can understand. Well, you're not, Jacqueline, you're not that far behind. You have 5?
5
Oh, wow.
Five.
Okay.
That she knows of,
that I know of.
Okay.
Numbers always growing.
So, and obviously, she adopted those two children from Haiti.
Haiti?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's a big deal. And they immediately started going after. She's just using them as trophies so she can get in the Supreme Court.
I
Now,
can
what's
tell
your
you,
opinion of that?
the entire country has been so much more aware of foster care. And that has
Mhm.
been a huge highlight, especially for evangelicals,
Mhm.
that so many more are involved. Even if you're not fostering, you're helping people that foster. I don't know a single person who doesn't know a foster family or isn't involved with foster families. And when they attacked her kids, they attacked the entire foster community because we all have multiracial homes. We all have kids that don't match us in skin color or language barriers. I mean, these are the things that the foster community is dealing with. And so to attack it, you attacked a lot of homes.
Well, and the thing is with like the whole like abortion argument from the left, they say, well, why do you adopt? Or they like attack you if you literally haven't adopted, or like, they always use the adoption thing. Like unless you've adopted, you don't have a right to, or, they try to use that as an argument. But then when somebody actually adopts, then they attack them for adopting. I mean, or,
Right.
it's just so ridiculous. You can't, there's
Well,
no
again,
way.
to that point, I mean, it's the double standard of women.
Yeah.
If you go back to work, you don't care about your children. If you stay at home, you're just lazy and you just want to be a stay-at-home mom. That's all you've ever wanted to do.
Right.
There's, if you are fit, you care too much about yourself and you care too much about looking a certain way. And if you don't care, you've lost yourself.
Yep.
There's so many standards to being a woman.
It's
that you
tiring.
can't
Well,
keep. No
hold
matter
on,
what you
hold on.
do, you're not okay.
Years ago, okay, my spousal unit and I made the decision that she would be a stay-at-home mom. You like that, my spousal unit?
Don't advocate
Okay.
that.
So
It sounded like a storage unit. Okay.
I know. Nice unit. No, but anyway, my now ex-wife. Now you know why. No, just kidding. But I had at that point we had two, Gabby and Melina, and we were, they were probably Melina. I think was still an infant of sorts. She was probably less than a year old, maybe a little bit more. But Gabby was like 3 years old at that point, 3-4 years old, and so here we are. We have a stay-at-home mom, and her sister invites her on a 10-day cruise, all expenses paid. I'm like, yeah, you got to go. I did not know what the hell I was getting into. Okay. I had to deal with childcare. We had to do temporary like daycare and all that stuff. 2 different places because they're 2 different ages and all that stuff. And yada yada. Gabby was actually in school at that point, so she was 5 or 6. So, and then that would have made Melina about 3. Anyway, so here I am trying to figure all this out. That was the longest 10 days of my entire life. I have so much respect. So I know what it's like to be, and I got to give hats off to all the stay-at-home dads out there. I know a couple of those too. It is work. It is real work.
It is.
To be a mom and to balance a career on top of it like that. I mean, hats off.
And it's tough. And I think that the actual doing of those things is not even nearly as difficult as having to explain yourself to other people. We chose to do homeschooling for our kids this year. It's an accredited homeschooling program. We decided them going back in person was not going to be the best option for us. You have one side that thinks it's completely irresponsible, and I get attacked for it, even though my husband and I made that decision. Somehow I'm the one who gets attacked for it. And then the other side's that if we were to, because we had weighed out that option of sending them back. And then it was like, how can you do that? How can you send them back? How dare you? And it's like, well, this is our decision. It's not just mine, right? I'm not just like throwing out decisions, like I'm very convincing when I want something. However, I'm not making all these decisions by myself, but women are targeted for that. Like, it's your fault. You did this. Do you feel that way too?
Well, I think like because I've seen,
Yes.
debates about, Paris says, I think that like whether there's working moms or stay-at-home moms, I think they feel like they can get attacked one way or the other. And
Yeah.
I always try to tell, like, if there's a debate going on online, I go, you know what, it's hard either way, because either you're at home and you have to keep your sanity dealing with kids all day and trying to keep the house clean and just all the different responsibilities there and not interacting with adults outside the home. There's that. But then if you're working, you do have to take care of things when you get home, and you're not, you have to catch up on stuff, and you're trying to balance two different things. So it's like, I kind of just say, hey, whatever you're doing, it's still going to be, it can be challenging. So, but yeah, I think sometimes it feels like no matter what you do, you can get
it's no matter
attacked
what
for
you
it.
did, but I really felt like that was a big push to normalize that, really, from a lot of the left. That was like, no matter what you do, that's your life. If you want to go back to work, go back to work. And I felt that, because that was most of my left friends that were really pushing that. And I like that, because I like to feel that I'm supported and not being judged for working full time and going to school and being a mom and a foster parent. Like, there's a lot of things going on in our home all the time, but we felt led and driven to do all of them. And so it was interesting, though, to see the same people who pushed that, normalization onto her, that you can't do all of that.
Right. What? Wait, I thought that you said that a woman can't do it all.
My favorite
You
thing
can.
she said was, what did she say? I'm going to paraphrase it. I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it.
Oh, wow.
Amy Coney Barris said that.
That's a really good way to put it.
And it was really good. It was like, she just threw some really educated shade.
Awesome.
I
like it.
her answers were like mostly brilliant. She had some, yes ma'am, no ma'am type of answers too, but and she understands cases that she's already ruled on. She didn't try to escape or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I know where Ed is. He's competing with me. He has a live show on. I'm gonna have to talk to him. Well, all right.
That's funny.
I've got more viewers. I'm just kidding. No, but it's I didn't realize the competition. No, that's all good. It's all good. Nachos feels lonely over at YouTube, but wait, let me go. Rick had just posted something on here. I had it up for a minute. Oh, yeah. There we go. He's a stay-at-home dad for 3 years. Very tough. He thinks men get it worse for staying home with their kids.
I can see that.
Interesting. Yeah. My friend Dave, his wife, had a brilliant idea for a marketing company, and she was making the money, so he stayed home. I've got my friend Dale, who's a stay-at-home dad. His wife's an attorney, and he didn't need to work. He worked for many years, but he just didn't need to work anymore. And it's great. I think it's important. If you can. I know it's difficult and situations change, but if you can at least have one parent home.
I think my husband would sooner work at Target than be a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
I think he would volunteer at Target parking lot.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Before he was stay-at-home dad full time. But he's like, when he comes home, though, like, I'm just joking. He does the dinners on Tuesday nights are his planning, and he preps that, and then he is the bedtime routine guy. I'm like, during the day, he comes home and he's like bedtime routine and reading books, and so he does great with that. But I don't see him doing that full time.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I can't. And I essentially am right now too with my 14-year-old. Some change in circumstances about a year ago and whatever like that. Nothing like, nothing sinister about it. It just kind of worked out better because I was still in Wauwatosa, and so he can still go to Wauwatosa schools and whatever. I think I've mentioned this before on the show, and you guys have actually really good friends with my ex-wife, so that's all good. So, but anyway, that tangent back. I'm gonna segue, reel it in. No, Amy Coney Barrett was composed the whole time, even when a lot of us would lash out at some of the hateful questions. Damn well in the back of her mind, she was like, F you.
Yeah, she showed restraint.
Yeah, especially when you're face to face with Spartacus.
Oh my gosh. And those questions were so so ridiculous. So
It
obviously,
was draining just to listen to it.
just the way he talked to, like the way he said it, like what he said,
Yeah.
and then the way he said it was
Like,
just
get
so.
to the point. There's got to be a point. Where's the question here? Is
That
he
was-
just talking?
Yeah, it was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just to hear himself talk, I think he was.
Yeah, like you're circling. You've repeated that twice. Where are you going with this? Is there a part of this that she's supposed to answer?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. And so I had to like log in and out because I was getting mentally drained.
I haven't actually
Well-
watched a ton of. I've only seen clips here and there because I've been very busy, but also I can't mentally. I remember watching the Kavanaugh hearings, and I just was just like beside myself with that. And I didn't know if I could handle more of that garbage. So
Yeah.
I haven't watched.
And we
a
had
lot.
Spartacus back then too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And sadly, I've got to give credit where credit is due. Lindsey Graham was the most limp-wristed, linguini-spine senator on the planet. And something happened. I don't know if he got a prescription of Viagra or what, but he just all of a sudden he went full metal jacket on these people,
awesome.
and it's like, if you guys want power, I hope you never get it. It's
we
like
needed that at that point. I think a lot of people were feeling so like just drained and just like disgusted by it all. Like I like it's like he was our voice at that moment, and there were so many people who were like, yeah, like thank you so much for saying like exactly what we're thinking, because we were I was so fed up with it. And so it was just like I loved him from that point. Now I don't agree with him on everything necessarily now,
No.
but that was like a moment where I go, oh my gosh, that was awesome, and I think I love him.
unfortunately, he's in the political fight of his life.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yikes, that's kind of crazy, but so hopefully he gets it in. I mean, he's got a lot of. I saw ads pop up on Facebook, and he's like asking, for money to make sure he defeats his. I don't even know what his opponent is because I haven't been paying attention to that, part of the country. But obviously, I mean, yeah, we need the Senate, and we need to have like a good. I mean, we need to keep what we have, if not gain more, but at least keep what we have.
Yeah, I think the Senate, I'd say will be. I'm predicting +3.
Really? Okay.
I'm very confident in the Senate, but I think Collins is toast. Depending.
Susan Collins.
Yeah, depending on how she votes on the justice.
Has she said one way or the other?
No, she didn't think we should have it before the election.
Oh, is that her? Okay, I couldn't remember if it was Murkowski or Collins. Okay.
Both.
So what
both.
is going to happen in Wauwatosa now, though? Like,
other than the fact that the people like Hilario are pushing me to run. Okay. So, well, it all depends. I mean, and obviously, as Jackie,
I don't know. I don't know. Like,
well, I think the mayor or the council will appoint a replacement and then have a spring election.
Okay.
And then at that spring election, I'm trying to recruit candidates. I want to have at least 3 conservative candidates running. Or at least not, and they don't have to be hardline conservative. I'd rather have, for me, as far as city government, I really just want balance. That's all I want. I'm not asking for ideology and stuff like that. No, I'm not running for alderman. It's a thankless job. And I would consider myself as, I had an interesting conversation with someone tonight, and she said, activists are not good politicians. And I was like, yeah, because activists obviously are so vocal and, very set in their ways. It makes it hard to manage for your whole constituency.
I think
I don't know.
that makes a great candidate. It makes someone who's real, who's up front, who speaks their mind and isn't stuck to a script, and not worried about that. And if that's not what the people want, then they don't have to vote for it. But I think transparency is really what people are voting for.
I think it helps depending on too, like what type of personality you have, because I think you can be an activist and
Heather
still
Cole.
you can be sure. I mean, you can be like very passionate and very, you know, activist minded and still reach people and still be real. But then there are some people who like are too much on the warpath, maybe like,
Yeah.
you know, where you can just push too many people away. So I could see how it could be either way, but I do think you can be, yeah, go ahead.
Well, Heather didn't come. She did not campaign on that agenda. That was the problem. She hid who she was. And that's what I'm finding with liberals. They never campaign as liberals.
Yeah.
With the exception of Bernie Sanders, I've got a ton of respect for the guy because you know where the guy stands.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or
Yeah.
different, no matter how
I agree.
bat blank crazy he is. He's really I don't know. Just I have
He's
have respect
authentic.
for somebody.
He's
Yeah, if she had campaigned for that and then still won, I'd probably be like, well, that's what her constituents wanted. I wouldn't want to live in that
Like,
district.
you're honest and you're out there campaigning who you are and the things that you care about, and you don't win. I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think when people stick to the politics, and that's what I'm seeing more and more with even our local candidates, they want people who are real. They're sick of politicians. You know, we've got Crystal Miller, who's running out here for District 65, and she's walking around just talking to people and telling them who she is and what she stands for and the things that, you know, she's running as Republican, but she's like, here are the things I think are wrong with the Republican Party. And here are the things I think are wrong with the Democratic Party. I'm running Republican because this, this, and this. And she's really honest and down to earth. Most people love it. There's going to be some people who don't, but you're always going to find that. You know, I think it's the people who are activists in a black and white world of values that hurt people when they say things like abortion is always wrong. And while I can believe that's true, saying it that way is hurtful because it has no tact and it hurts people.
Messaging it's important how you message because
Yes.
you want to be able to relate to people and reach people and still be sincere in what you're saying. I mean, and I think there's that balance.
To be understood the way that I believe it to be.
Yeah.
And there's no room for interpretation. So if I'm saying something and you're interpreting it the wrong way, then I'm not communicating it right.
Sure.
Because you should be able to walk away with the same idea, you know, if I'm a good communicator. And I think when activists are running as politicians, that's what they need to do.
Yeah.
I think as long as they're honest, I have no issue with it. I'd be the one to say you're just full of shit on the board, you know.
You probably would.
And that's the whole thing. I actually ran in 2010 for state assembly.
Did you really? I didn't know that.
I had the world's shortest campaign. I had reached out to, I found David Cullen was my assembly rep, and he had been there for like 20 years. And I found out he was running unopposed, and like, hey, how do I run? What do I need to do? He goes, well, you got to get 200 signatures, but you need them by Tuesday. I'm like, and this was like Friday. Like, oh, you know, do you have a list of Republicans in the area? And it'll help me collect those signatures. No, we're not allowed to share our lists because we are not supposed to pick favorites during a primary. I'm like, he's running unopposed. Hello. Well, we don't know that. Someone else could be gathering signatures and didn't say anything. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, I got my 200 signatures, and I remember that I had to travel for work on that Tuesday. So my wife at the time dropped off the signatures in Madison, and on Friday, I hear they're contesting your signatures. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, that was Tuesday. Now on Friday, he goes, well, you had 9 of your signatures where they had signed nomination papers for your opponent as well.
Oh,
like, so they got removed. No, it was 8 of them. 8 of them got removed, and Paris was at 192. Why? Because the moron at the Republican Party, who is knowingly talking to someone who's never run for anything before, didn't tell me I should probably get 300 signatures because they can challenge your signatures. I had no flipping idea. And these people lied to me saying that because you're supposed to ask if they signed someone else's nomination papers.
Oh,
And it's just it's a stupid rule anyway. I should be able to sign anybody. Oh yeah, you can run, you can run, you can run. Go hash it out. It's like, but yeah. So I had the world's shortest campaign. They literally got an attorney and went to the court and had me removed from the ballot.
Interesting.
So after that happened, well, you can always run as a write-in candidate in the primary, and then you can get back on the ballot. I'm like, cool. How many signatures do I need? He goes, you need about 530 signatures. It's based on the prior governor election. And if you want, we can give you a walk list. I'm like, you asshole. So needless to say, I went on Facebook. At that time, I wasn't as popular. No, I only had like 200 friends. And I went on there and just said, hey, here's the scoop. I got knocked off the ballot. If you guys in the district want to write me in, please write me in. I would appreciate it. But, that's all I did. I got to 473. I should have actually tried. I would have been back on the ballot. But anyway, the rest is history. That was a long tangent. Thanks a lot.
So that was the only time you ran for assembly?
I've got PTSD. Well, I thought it was maybe a divine intervention saying,
don't do it.
No, saying I could be more effective as an activist. So,
okay. Well, we need both, so
I think
everybody's-
activist would be great in politics. And I think that's what we need personally.
I think all three of us should run.
There you go. Well, we're all from different. Well, where do you live, Jackie?
Kenosha.
Oh, that's where my mom lives. Okay. So
What area in Kenosha?
She lives right near Carthage College, actually.
Okay. I'm not far from there.
Okay, cool. So
Carthage College. Say that 10 times fast.
yes.
And you're up in Sturgeon Bay,
which is
Sturgeon
County.
Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
well, I should have Jessie Eben on the show too. She's been on the show before. She ran for the 3rd district congressional seat, but she's been on the show, and I could have all Wisconsin covered because she's out in Western Wisconsin.
There you go.
So
we'll get it all covered.
Well, I could get Shannon on the show, So, she's out there in Western Wisconsin, and Hilario is here, and I could have like 20 people on the show. Now that
we might get really small on the screen.
Yeah, I think 3 is like the max. I've had 5 on at once, and it was just too difficult. People talking over each other. It's just hard. Having a 3-way conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. This is probably just about right.
I have to turn it off, because my husband likes to go back and forth and say, like, what did they say on Fox? What did they say on CNN? And try to find the truth in the middle. But I can't listen really to either most of the time, because I'll have like 17 people up there, and they're all just talking at the same time. I'm like,
yeah. And when it gets really heated, then it's like, blah blah blah. I've watched there was a show on Fox that and I don't have Fox News anymore because I don't have cable, but there was a show where like they'd always have like on Saturday mornings or something where they had like a split screen with 5 or 6 people or something, and it was always like horrible because it's just like I could never understand what they're saying because everybody was talking over each other.
Well, especially when you throw, like, if it's CNN, they'll throw a Republican on there, and it's just everyone eating them alive.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Will be that too, and throw a Democrat over there, and then
Right. It's like, what's the point
alive,
of even having them on if you're
Why do you even invite them if you're not going to listen?
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually my rub, and I love his passion. I love that he is steadfastly for Trump from the beginning, all that stuff. Sean Hannity, he is the world's worst interviewer because he asks the question and answers it with the answer that he wants before the person even gets a chance to talk.
Yeah, he does talk over some of his guests.
Yeah.
And I've never liked him because of that. And I'm sick of hearing any day now the gavel's gonna fall down. It's like I've been waiting for any day now for 3 years. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah, I wouldn't say any day now.
Yeah, he's too, like, anyone who goes on and just loves every single step Trump takes, I'm like, you start to become unreliable. Right. He's not perfect. Okay. If you can't make fun of him once in a while, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a thing, I remember he said we should take away CNN's FCC license. I publicly was vehemently against that. I go, the market will determine that. You don't Yeah, if nobody wants to hear that. So you live down in Kenosha. You lived through the riots down there. I'm sorry, mostly peaceful protests.
Yeah,
Um, obviously, I'm assuming you saw some of the footage from Wauwatosa,
yeah.
which was violent at times, but much different. What do you think of how it was handled here versus how it was handled there?
Well, I think the police were more organized. I think they had more help. I think that in some regards, maybe they had seen what happened here and how quickly that escalated, because it was way underestimated. And knowing that it wasn't Kenosha people, and I would assume the same thing in Wauwatosa, it's probably not just Wauwatosa people out there doing these things. And so knowing that that's the case, having reinforcements come in, officers from other cities coming to help, if that would have happened sooner in Kenosha, I don't think there would have been loss of life. I don't think that any of these businesses would have been burnt down like this.
Well, speaking of loss of life, Rittenhouse is not going to be charged with anything in Illinois, which I didn't think bringing a gun over borders. What a stupid rule. But obviously he's still going to be probably charged here. And I think Belling talked about this before, and I've talked about this before. I mean, it's the other side is treating him like he's the worst thing since Hannibal Lecter.
Mm-hmm.
And our side is treating him like he's, he should have his face on Mount Rushmore. Right. It's like, guys, wait for the facts.
Take a step back from that argument, not for any other reason other than I think both sides are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there is, and as a responsible gun owner, and someone who loves their Second Amendment right, I think that there is not enough accountability on parents. If you have guns in your home and a child gets them, that is on you. We are criminalizing children for getting a hold of their parents' possessions. If you do not,
that was given to him.
Yeah, if that,
I think.
Then whose fault is it really? I'm not saying that he's innocent. I am not saying that he's a hero. I'm not saying, but someone else illegally put a gun in his hands, and that person was his guardian, his mother, his father.
She was there.
She was, yeah.
Oh, was she there at the?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And I have a huge, huge problem with that.
Mm-hmm. And I just think to myself, okay, he was there supposedly to help. First of all, he's helping in a war zone.
Yep.
You can't 17-year-old kid
in the military because you're not old enough. No one wants your help.
He doesn't have the mental capacity. And they were talking about, kids were fighting in World War II. They were basically cannon fodder for the first wave of Normandy. A lot of these, they didn't even begin life and they're getting shot at, but it's
yeah, I wouldn't have. I mean, if that was my son, I wouldn't have felt comfortable having him go there with knowing what.
Not a chance.
No, not
and handing them a gun as if you are out there
in Portland, and you look at all these other places where it's like that was not safe, and just for for his age,
Well, if you compare it to even like school shootings,
mm-hmm.
How are these children? They're not walking and they're making it sound like, oh, they walked up to someone's garage and bought it. No one sold a gun to a 12-year-old. Stop.
Yeah.
That's not what happened. All of these guns are taken from their parents. Where is the parents' liability in this?
What do they do? They estimate all these school shootings. Hey, Kimberly, all these school shootings, they break 20,000 gun laws that are on the books. Okay, tell me exactly which gun law would have prevented this.
They never talk about specifics. They just say we need to do something, and then they ignore the fact that there are already laws on the books.
And there's something that can really be done. And this is something that my husband and I have talked about a ton of times. I don't think that you should mandate someone to have a safe in your home. You don't have to. However, if you have a child that gets a hold of it and doesn't, you should have equal or somewhat similar sentencing as your child. Would that motivate you to get a safe in your home?
Mm-hmm. Sure, if you're held accountable for.
If you're going to be held accountable,
being reckless with,
And it's the same thing if your child brought drugs into your home and they were dealing it out of your home. You wouldn't get charged with drug dealing. Obviously, you weren't doing that action, but you could be charged for having drugs in your home.
Yeah, the drug problem is huge anyway. You know, and with guns and drugs and stuff like that, it's like parents need to be responsible for what their
It
kids
is
are
their
doing in their home.
responsibility. If your child has mental health issues, is going through a difficult time, has talked about suicide, these are really good indications to lock it up, take it to your parents' house, have them hold on to these things for a while, never thinking that your kid would actually do something like that, but just to be cautious.
Yeah, you never know.
You know, we've had kids in our home that are coming from foster care that have had different symptoms or have said things that could indicate that they wanted to hurt themselves. We get rid of everything. Everything's on, from like steak knives. Like we're like, you know, tying them up, like wrapping them up and putting them in our closet. I mean, you have to, and nothing has ever happened. And I don't think anything ever would have, but I would never forgive myself if I left something out for someone else to get hurt with.
Right. Well, in this case, and Jim's correct on this, and he's actually a former police officer, so he has a little insight here. And he was there on the ground taking video and stuff. He's involved with Wisconsin right now. Hey, Jim, you should come on.
Cool.
Another publication here, in an online publication. He and Jessica McBride started that. And there are competitors. No, I'm just kidding. No, we're all different voices to get the message out. But it's not been released who actually gave him the gun. The gun was here in Wisconsin, but somehow he got the gun, and that's the whole thing. But just the fact that his parents let him go in there to begin with, because you didn't know when it was going to erupt at any moment. Well, he was medically trained. So what? You know, a 17-year-old's not equipped mentally to deal. I'm not. Hell, I would think I'm not equipped to deal with that type of crisis situation.
Well, and the thing is too, it's just not a safe. I mean, that whole situation, you just know it could get out of hand really quick, and it did. I mean,
yeah. You went there because you thought things could get out of hand,
right?
So it wasn't like we were just, out hunting, because it is legal. I think you could even be 16. I'm not sure, for a kid to be able to carry a gun and go hunting. Like those things are legal. So it's not like they were out in the middle of the woods and this riot just happened out of nowhere, and he just, but
he was, obviously he was well trained. He got lucky that none of the bullets passed beyond the target. So I don't know if they're frangible ammo that he was using or whatever, but he was judicious in the way he executed the shootings. And he was clearly defending himself. That is beyond question.
He was absolutely defending himself.
I think in the moment, maybe he was self-defense, but I cannot get myself to the point of, I would have been happy if my kid is, because he shouldn't have been there. You acted in self-defense in a situation you had no business being in, and your parents had no business being there with you and encouraging you or allowing you to be there. So the self-defense, yes, maybe in that moment he acted in self-defense, but you did not need to be there. That was not a situation you needed to be in.
It was not a wise decision to be
and the fact is, it's not like all of a sudden it erupted outside his house and he's out there with a gun. No, this wasn't at his house. He came from Antioch. That's where they have the Holy Grail, in Antioch.
Yeah.
So sorry, and I'm a little Monty Python reference, probably before you guys' time.
No, I know little Monty Python.
It's all a question of weight ratios. Okay, let's see. Yeah, but definitely, he's definitely not a hero. I think he'll be prosecuted, but as Nick said, he's got a very good legal defense team, and they're going to be able to prove reasonable doubt.
Yeah, one thing I don't like about what's with him, well, and the left does this about everything, but they're accusing him of being racist or a white supremacist.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Where are you even getting that? That's like calling the cop who killed, I'm sorry, I'm going blank here, in Kenosha. What caused the riots? What's that?
Jacob Blake.
Yes, Jacob Blake.
Yeah.
They literally, right off the bat, even our governor was making it sound like, oh, it's because of racism. Where do you get that from?
No kidding. And that was Kamala Harris's hero too, on top of it. Someone who's okay.
She's proud of
Joe. Okay. Kavanaugh. Someone accuses him of rape or assault. Okay. Women must be heard. Joe Biden. Someone accuses him of assault. Women must be heard.
Apparently not.
And then you have Jacob Blake. someone accused him of rape, and he's accused, not
Not convicted.
not convicted, but still he's accused, and apparently has a history, and suddenly he's a hero. I mean, had he just complied, he wouldn't have been in this situation to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, obviously we have the situation with here in Wauwatosa. You know, we have Robin Vining, who's a state assembly rep. She beat a Republican by 120 votes or whatever, and was able to squeak in. And she's she would be I'd consider an extremist in her views. Nice lady. I know her. Her kids my kids all go to school together, whatever. But I have issues with her ideology, major issues. But she, instead of condemning the violence and supporting the police, she extended her condolences to the family of the 17-year-old who was shot and killed by Joe Mensa. And I looked at that, and it's like, okay, I agree. It's tragic. That family is hurting. There's no question about it. They lost their son and their brother and everything else. I get it. I feel for them, but there's still a situation. Had he not been there with a gun to begin with, all this would be a moot point.
Yep. Just kind of inviting the opportunity for something bad to happen. You know, I mean,
Right.
You know, just when you do that kind of stuff, it's more likely that something bad can happen. So,
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of just feelings and passion and energy on both sides. So it gets heated and people speak in emotion and hurt. I think that, you know, the Black community has felt oppressed and has felt a lot of things for a long time. And it all comes out in, you know, right now.
Yeah.
Things that
But
maybe aren't as bad as what they seem, but it's so much deeper for them, you know. But I'm grateful that our president is doing a lot for that community and really showering them in just love and into their education and home ownership and all of those programs that he's really pouring into, because I think that speaks volumes. Because people say that he, you know, is so abrasive in the way he talks, and we've got all these riots and all these things happening because they've been hurt, and they have been. And
well,
so
yeah,
I think
but
making up for that, you know, and
but
just
they've been
understanding that.
in a lot of ways they've been hurt by their own leaders, though, too. And I'm talking about leaders of their communities who are basically pounding in their head, "You're not good enough. You'll never amount to anything because of systemic racism, and you're not good enough. You're not, you know, whatever." And you look at the Asian community, they have no problem doing much better than whites, mind you. Their median income is like $30,000 a year more than whites. And then you also have like Africans who come over from Africa as immigrants that are doing phenomenal in their own businesses and everything.
Immigrants do better than people who were born here a lot of times because their mentality is different, because they're coming from a place where they actually know what it's like to not be free and to not have opportunity. And, you know, I mean, so they're like coming here because they have like hope. They have hope when they come here. And so it's like their mentality is different than when you're born here. And then like when you're told constantly you are a victim, and that's not to say there aren't some hardships that, like, I'm not trying to downplay actual hardships. I'm just saying when you're constantly, but when you're constantly told you're a victim and you can't make it, you know, it's going to be harder to make it when you keep thinking you can't make it, you know?
So, rise above.
And
they need that message. And we have leaders.
A lot of things as like systematic and cause and effect. And there's a lot of causes that have had effects. And so one of the studies that I read is really interesting. And it's about being a single mom, especially to a boy. And being a single mom to a boy and raising a child on your own, that boy is about, oh my gosh, I think it was 17 times more likely as a boy.
Uh-oh. We're losing her. Uh-oh. We lost her.
A
Freeze
child
frame.
coming from, sorry, I had to move. A child come from a single father home, a boy specifically coming from a single father home is just as likely to be incarcerated for violent crimes as a family that's intact. So, sorry, I'm putting my charger in as I'm talking.
Okay.
So to look at that and think about that realistically, it's not that women don't matter to boys, but it's the impact that a father has on his family is huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely huge. But where are the men in the Black community?
Yeah.
1994 crime bill. Does that ring a bell for anyone? Droves of Black men are put into prison for petty crimes. That was the point of it. They're taken out of the home. You know, if they tried to fight the sentence, they got a higher sentence. So they pleaded guilty to crimes that a lot of them didn't even commit. So they've got free labor. They're never able to vote again. You've got all these things and all of these homes that no longer have a father in it.
Yep.
So now we're where we're at now. In 1994, my youngest sister was 2. To put that in perspective, she is 26. That's a lot of fatherless homes.
No, it makes a difference. And you look at the statistics of when with a 2-parent home and the chances of someone living in poverty versus a single parent home, a lot of times a single mom, you know, it's a lot more likely you'll be in poverty if you don't have both parents in the home, which I mean, that just is common sense. Right. But so you look at the rate of that among, you know, whether it's the Black community or, you know, whites or whatever, it totally makes a difference. I mean, that's like a huge part of it, I think. So
well, that's where Trump's First Step Act comes into place, where he's not only just because I saw a tip that he's not letting out as many prisoners as Obama did, and that is true, because that's not the biggest portion of this. I mean, it's a big part of it, but the biggest portion of it is prevention, is stopping these crimes from happening, stopping these sentencing from happening, stop taking men out of the homes. You know, because you will have intact families. You will have men that are involved with their children. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And check out this meme here. Let me get this comment off. Right there. You know, 43% of boys are raised by single mothers. 78% of teachers are female. And so close to 50% of boys have 300% feminine influence at home. Wow. 80% feminine influence at school. Toxic masculinity isn't the problem. The lack of masculinity is.
It's the truth. It's not that women are bad, because that's not the message. It's that we've systematically taken men out of the picture, specifically Black men. And then we get upset with the Black community going, well, what are you doing with this? Why are you all on welfare? Why is it all low income housing? You know, and you have these situations, but there's always a cause and effect.
It's by design almost.
It is designed that way. It is absolutely
seems like it's by design.
You keep them oppressed, you keep them in need, because they will attach to, you know, the hand that's holding everything.
And then it's hard to break out of that.
Yeah. Well, you can't. I mean, I was a single mom, and when I was working at the salon at the time, and I was on government health insurance, and my boss had asked me if I could work an extra shift. I was like, absolutely, that would be great. So I worked an extra shift. So that day I made, I think, like $85 or $86 on my pay stub. And I got a letter in the mail 2 weeks later from the state that said I made $54 too much. And if I did it again, I would lose my health insurance for me and my son. Yeah. It's like over $54.
Wow.
How am I ever supposed to get out of this? Because $54 is not going to cover health insurance. It's not going to cover deductibles. It's not going to cover copays, medications. If he falls and breaks his leg, I'm going to be evicted because I can't afford all this. How do you do it? You can't get out. It is a system designed to keep you where you're at.
Well, Tommy Thompson was brilliant when he launched W2 in an effort to, okay, we're going to keep you going. We're going to get you trained. You get 2 years to get off. So he changed the mentality. Oh, now this isn't a lifetime benefit. This is finite. It's going to end in 2 years. And that actually it ended up being the plan to Bill Clinton, to his credit. It took 3 times, but he finally adopted it.
Yep.
And it was the law of the land, so to speak, until I should bring on Orlando Owens. I got to get Orlando on my show. I know that. But now I completely lost our train of thought. I got distracted. See, there was a squirrel but over here.
Bill Clinton and
the Bill Clinton. But then Obama gets in office and he gets rid of it.
Yeah.
He did so much.
Why did he
and
do that?
Yeah, these never Trumpers really tick me off. They're willing to hand the Democrats power. Oh, we'll get a real conservative in 2024.
What a joke.
Look at the damage that Obama did in his first 2 years. Because he had a Republican House of Representatives 2 years later. So he got Obamacare, got rid of welfare.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, no, he got Obamacare, he got rid of welfare reform. Just those 2 things alone were huge. And he did nothing to help the Black community.
They're totally ignoring. I mean, I'm just looking at a list of stuff, like, because I want to write a letter to the editor, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. Like, as I'm writing all the stuff that he's done, I go, I can't list everything because there's not space to list all the stuff he's done in a letter to the editor. There's just way too much. So I'm like, great, I gotta try to narrow it down,
I started doing separate posts.
Yeah,
talk about hot topics and just posting one thing at a time. Like 30,000 jobs are made available today just for African Americans per day under President Trump.
Right, exactly. I mean, there's so many good things, and so it's so ridiculous. I get frustrated. I mean, I have some friends who, actually, I have one that I know of because the other one unfriended me, but because she couldn't handle that I like Trump. And so, anyways, but this other friend is nice enough about it, but he's never Trumper, and I don't get it. I really don't. I'll list all the stuff he's done, and he talks about the debt, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. The debt is something that we need to address. I get it, but that's like one thing out of all these things.
There was no debt though under Obama, so I can understand his anger.
I love this sarcasm.
Well, he's claiming, because he wasn't for Obama either, but it's one of those like a purist thing where and that whole purist thing always bugs me because, and I get, and I'm one of those people that agrees that some people are rhinos, and I get that, but there's, you can go one way or the other too much, and I'm like, you're ignoring so many good things. It just doesn't even make sense to me. Like, I just don't understand how somebody cannot see it.
Yeah.
The ends don't justify the means, just so they can prove a point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Okay. Trump's not perfect. Oh my gosh. Okay. Ronald Reagan, the pillar of conservatism, gave us that huge tax cut, but then subsequent years gave us huge tax increases. And let's talk amnesty without doing a damn thing at the southern border.
Yeah.
So let's say, conservative perfection doesn't exist.
No. I think people when they look back in history, like, I think sometimes conservatives can put certain people on a pedestal, like even Abraham Lincoln, who is awesome, but you look at some of the stuff he did, and there might be some conservatives today, if they looked at it, they might be like, oh, I didn't actually agree with that, but you throw everything else out the window. I mean,
absolutely
so I think sometimes
not. Well, I was in Kentucky last month, and we went and we visited Noah's Ark, and we visited, was it Martha or Mary Lincoln, his wife, her childhood home.
Mary, I think.
Mary. And
Noah's Ark is in Kentucky?
Yeah.
Not the water park.
Not the one at the Dells, you Wisconsin people.
I'm talking about Noah's Ark from the Bible.
Oh,
it's there?
The same thing.
A replica.
Want to go to the Dells? I'm like, no, I want to go to the Ark. I want to go see Moses.
So
we went and we saw Mary Lincoln's house, and I was like super excited. I love like real history, not just going to a museum and seeing some artwork, like walking into an old home or an old building and seeing something that has been left there since that time.
Yeah.
Because it makes it so real. And I have to say, like, the house was very cool. There was a lot of really cool things, but I was extremely underwhelmed. And I felt really, really sad because I learned that she had 2 brothers that were fighting on the other side of the war.
Really?
Yeah. And
I had no idea.
They almost did not they didn't want Link. They didn't trust him. They thought that he was saying, it was like written all over. They had, thank you. Yes. Mary Lincoln. They thought
Mary
he
Todd
was
Lincoln.
playing double sides
Yeah.
because he was saying, no, I want to free slaves. But then his wife's brothers are over there fighting on the other side. So like, is he playing both sides? Is he tricking us? I'm like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. So
That's
everyone
interesting.
has roots though, and skeletons and things and crazy family members. I do. I'll just
Some
throw it
people
out.
have-
Before you start researching, don't research it. I do.
Some people have whole corpses, you know, that kind of thing. But it's like,
Right?
Yeah.
but
Hillary
yeah, come on. You don't have 50 people who've killed themselves in your circle of friends?
I don't have too many people around me who've
Hashtag
committed
Clinton body
suicide.
count. I'm telling you, it's the best hashtag in your board. Just to look up, scroll through hashtag Clinton body count. It is fantastic. It's sad, but it is fantastic.
Yeah. And that's, you know, the biggest point here is that we gotta, you know, even in our heroes, we got to recognize they're all human beings and we're all flawed. It's, you know, there's no perfection. Yeah. Did Donald Trump say some uncouth things? Because I know Heather Cool, when she said her resignation, women are held to a higher standard than men. You know, I'm implicitly implying that Donald Trump gets a pass for talking about grabbing a woman's pussy. You know, pardon the expression, but that's what he said. You know. Okay,
you could
first-
have bleeped it out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just said it.
You're not like on a call with two women or anything. It's cool.
I know. Sorry. Quote unquote. Okay. So, but I didn't. But at any rate, he said that. But he said that when he wasn't a government official.
Well,
and it was
that's the thing,
behind-
and they really want that to mean something to women, and I think it does for like anyone. Like, I didn't like it when I heard it. I was like, ew, like, why would you say something like that? You know, I hated it. However, the thing that we wanted was not a politician, not politicians. They're public. They're in life. He was.
You know
on
what?
shows.
A lot
He
of
did
those
and
things.
he's a Queens, New York playboy. Everybody knew it.
But
And it didn't shock anybody. But when you've got, you know, someone who is holding office that says something absolutely horrible, that's a different standard. It's not the fact that you're a woman or a man. It's the fact that you're an elected official. You should conduct yourself better.
He also didn't say it publicly or anything like that, where he was, you know. But the thing I want to add is, because a lot of these people are very, you know, self-righteous, like Pharisees, but they're really actually ugly themselves. Like, they behind closed doors are probably worse than what, you know, Trump says in public. I mean, you know, they're all polished on the outside, but I guarantee you they all have their own issues. And so for them to grab their pearls and clutch their pearls and act like there's, it's like, whatever, please.
I can't believe it.
Like,
even Paul Ryan got into that. It's like, come on.
Yeah, you know, come on. I know. So it's just like, I just think it's just really fake outrage I'm not saying I'm not saying I agreed with what he said. I'm just saying
no.
For them to act like they
or what I said.
Shocked. yeah, right. What you said. Yeah.
Trump has really started a trend, and I've seen it even in like local candidates and stuff, is we're seeing more real people want to be in office, want to make a change, that we're not people who have master's degree in political science or anything like that. Like,
Harvard.
Going in there, not knowing how many signatures he needs. Like, what do I need to do? And when's it due by? What are the rules again? I just want to be involved. But that's how a lot of people are getting started right now. Like a lot of them, you know, doing these like door knockings and stuff on the weekends and everything. I'm seeing that firsthand, that these are not people who have had any kind of experience in politics. And it's incredible.
We've got a young
people.
We've got a young lady here in I forget what district, but it's in the Hispanic area down in the south side of Milwaukee. Veronica Diaz is her name. She's in her late 30s, but she's this effervescent ball of energy, and it's just, she's so refreshing, and she's just real. I want to run for office because I want to make things better. She loves President Trump, stuff like that. And she's very, you know, she's attractive. She's got, you know, charisma and star power about her and stuff like that. She might actually be able to pull this off. You never know. But it's refreshing to see someone new on the scene like that instead of somebody, you know, young Republicans. 9 times out of 10, they're represented by some nerd in a nice shirt with the bow tie. You know, it's like, come on. I want to see tattoos. I want to see a T-shirt. I want to see, whatever. Just be you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just-
sometimes
I-
you have to
Unless
clean
you're a
up.
nerd,
real
maybe you're
people,
a
and I
nerd.
think Trump has really made a difference in that because, he's showed that, not like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but just like a real making a really big difference in our country.
Yep.
Yep.
Donald Trump observed the nearly dead body politic, and it declares it's such. Meanwhile, others are saying that look at DJT with the nearly dead body politic. He is a murderer. Cue outrage. Okay, yeah, definitely. Well, that's essentially what it is. Oh, fly in my studio. What? Mary Thompson, I have a fly in my studio when I die. I believe it's a bionic fly. Oh my gosh. It must be the fly that was on Mike Pence's
I
head.
was totally just thinking that.
See, and I said that even the fly is picking Mike Pence. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, he did great.
My
He did great in
sister
that debate.
And she's so cute. She goes, because that fly knows that Pence couldn't hurt a fly. He felt safe.
Yeah, there you go.
Come
Like, I wouldn't have felt
Kamala.
safe around Kamala either. As a former fetus, I oppose being around that woman.
Yeah, that's brilliant. As a former fetus, I oppose being around. I mean, I am so glad that smugness showed up at the debate because it reminded people why she never got traction to begin with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It came off. I mean, and I was trying to be unbiased where like, if she did well, I would admit it. But I was like, oh, that was awkward. That came off really like when she was like, I'm talking here. Like she said it in a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like for sure. Totally.
I'm like, okay, that was kind of weird or that was kind of awkward. That was like, didn't come off well for her. So
2 steps in the Z formation.
Yeah. She
And
was like,
I said this, that I think that it was so forced for her as a DA, as foster parent. I've worked with a lot of DAs. I've been in a lot of their courtrooms. I've met with them. I've seen them. I know how they operate, and they have their own opinions in their mind because they're human beings, but they never lose that poker face ever.
Yeah.
So I believe a career in what she's done, I'm assuming she's done that. I would just assume. So it seemed really, really forced. Like she was really trying, because it didn't seem natural. It didn't seem like she was.
she was kind of acting out.
Yeah.
Well, even that I'm talking here, they immediately had T-shirts out.
Yeah.
Right after the debate. That was a planned line. It was so disingenuous. And I'm not saying Pence didn't have planned lines.
Though ready. How?
What's that?
They had fly swatters ready after the debate.
Really?
The Democrats, they started selling fly swatters.
Oh my gosh. You know why? Because they had nothing else good. They had nothing good they could say really about the debate.
They
had to focus on the fly.
And that's the whole point.
Planted? How did they know that was going to be there?
Well, somebody's on drugs there. You never know. They were inspired. Oh, look, the fly, man. Let's go get some fly swatters, dude. Quick, go to the store. Give me a hit of the weed. Whatever.
They just stick a Biden sticker on it and call it merchandise.
Right,
well,
there you go.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they had
Would they sell that though? I mean, does anybody is anybody buying stuff with Biden on it really?
I'm seeing lots of Biden signs, but I honestly
I see,
don't.
but
I only see them in rows.
Nothing else.
I don't see them randomly.
Nope.
Like you can tell someone was walking that block.
right.
Because I'll
No,
see
that's
like 4
true.
or 5 and then nothing again.
Right. Like out in the country. You don't see.
Yeah,
don't
you're
see
not
hardly
seeing
any.
it out
Well,
there. No one's
what-
door knocking out there either. So that's just organic.
Right.
Well, Stephanie, you're going to have to work your butt off to get the country out. We got to turn that thumb red, okay?
Well, I'm working on it. No, I think he's got a good shot. In our county. I mean, I just, from what I'm seeing, I just feel a lot of intensity and energy and passion on our side. And I sense it. I mean, I'll be a little nervous until I know for sure. And of course, I mean, Wisconsin as a whole is the most important thing. I would just like to be a part of it as far as winning our county. So I'm hoping for that, but
I think I don't know. I have the same feeling I had in 2016. It's like, I think we're going to be surprised. And I think we're due for some, the polls,
in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The polls don't make sense.
No,
you had
don't.
this recent Rasmussen poll, which is strange because Rasmussen is generally pretty accurate. And even they had Biden up 12%. And when you get into the crosstabs, they have Biden outperforming Obama in 2008. No
Really?
way in hell.
Oh my gosh.
Obama was this enigma. First of all, he had some star power. He's an excellent speaker when he's on teleprompter. And he had, young, fresh face, and obviously the whole first black president thing and all that stuff. Going for him. Yeah. So he had that. No way in hell Joe Biden has that kind of energy. Not even Hillary Clinton could command that energy as the first. She was a woman, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
But sure.
But she, it's not like she talked about it or anything. But,
yeah, right.
But it doesn't make sense. And then they had, you go deeper into the crosstabs, they had Donald Trump at winning 76% of the Republican vote. 76. I think he got like 81 in 2016, and he had horrible support from Republicans. There are so many Republicans who didn't vote for him.
Right. There was, I mean, I know plenty of people who were never Trumpers who are now going to vote for him this time. Yeah. I mean, and you got people that are
like the walk away campaign.
Right. You got the walk away too.
It's incredible.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
You got that too. And I don't see people in general walking away from the Republican Party saying, I'm going to vote Democrat. I'm not saying there aren't some weird people there are some never Trumpers who are still holding on to that, but I think there's much fewer than last time.
Yeah.
And then you got the people that are fed up and walking away from the Democrat Party. And I just that all that combined with what I'm seeing on the ground here and hearing from other counties, they can't keep up with signs, they can't keep up with merchandise, all this stuff. It's just constant. It would shock me if he didn't win Wisconsin. Actually, I mean, honestly, I would be shocked.
Well, where I work, there's the owner of the building had a big Trump sign out there. Of course, it got vandalized out in Brookfield.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, and there's every time it's vandalized, there's always BLM and a penis. It's like
we've had that in ours. We've had that in ours here.
Is it the same person going around vandalizing these signs?
They must be sending out memos of this is what you do when you vandalize. This is what you're supposed to put on there because it's all over the state. It's happening all over the state.
I haven't seen anything like that. I know it's been happening around here, but I haven't seen it. But I've got
I've seen it a lot.
A 6-foot flag in my yard. So
do you have had any issues?
Did you guys, speaking of flags, did you hear about the story? We had our riots or whatever happening in Wauwatosa. They went to Longfellow Middle School, which is kind of in the epicenter of where they were peacefully protesting, and they went and cut down the American flag. They got it down from the flagpole and everything like that. A day later, a veteran was ticked off. He went and bought the biggest flag he could find, and it's up there flying now, and it's been flying for days. They had a ceremony, and they did it up there. You can catch it in WisconsinRightNow.com. So
okay,
and on their page, they covered it well. People sent me this stuff, but they had already covered it. I don't want to cover the same story. It's like they did a great job, but it was so neat. Obviously I was hanging out with Jacqueline over at where was that? Clifford's. Yeah.
It was Clifford's. Yeah.
Yeah. Stephanie was going to come, but she didn't want to make the 3-hour drive. She doesn't think we're worth it.
Well, 2.5 hours.
Next question is, are you guys going to the Trump rally in Janesville on Saturday?
Oh my goodness. How far of a drive is that from here?
No, I don't know.
I don't know. I got a thing saying something about a VIP pass or a expedited whatever if I wanted, but I have to tell them by midnight tonight, and it's 1:45, and I don't know if I can make the trip that day. So I don't know.
I would
Yeah,
love
I'm gonna
to, but we've got soccer games. We have so much going on.
You're
on
playing
Saturdays.
soccer right now? Is COVID not shutting that down?
I'm not playing. I'm coaching. We
but
had
you guys
practice
are-
tonight, hence the hoodie and the.
So how do you
ponytail
coach with the
hair.
mask
That's
on?
what I was doing tonight.
Do you wear a mask when you're coaching?
Not when we're coaching. We have to wear them when the game is being played.
Oh my God! It's like
Oh, boy.
get on.
They can't be political masks, but yeah, no, I have to like pull it down.
No,
pull
but
it
I
down.
mean, well, okay, fine. Now here's non-political. I mean, they can't hear what you're saying.
They can't, and it's really hard
Yeah.
because I coach second graders,
Oh gosh.
and the kids don't wear them, but the kids are the ones in contact with each other, and they
Yeah.
can't. It's all. I think it's so that if they take pictures and post them online, it looks like we're being safe and we're taking
Yeah.
it seriously. Because
Yeah.
wearing a mask while you're coaching and your kids are half a field away from you and you're shouting things to them isn't protecting anybody.
It's all perception of what that looks like. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, then you got the soccer parents who are also on drugs. I don't know. I've had to deal with psychotic soccer parents and psychotic Irish dance moms. I mean, it's the ones living vicariously through their kids. Oh yeah, the John Benet Ramsey moms. They're terrible.
Oh,
They're
boy.
just I'm sure you guys. You've got daughters, and do you have daughters, Stephanie?
No, I just have a son, so that's not
Just a son?
happening.
So,
I
that
just
you-
have
You have one.
once
One.
again that you know
That's all
of.
we could.
So-
That's we tried
No,
for a really
last
long
week
time.
it was me and my oldest and my youngest, and we were sitting at home together, and all the kids spontaneously had somewhere to go. This never happens ever in the history of my family. Does someone get a call every 30 minutes? Hey, we want to know if we could pick up, Jackson, or we wanted to pick up, Jaden for a few hours, and Angela's in daycare, and someone else is over here, and I'm looking. I was like, I've just got my 5-year-old and 14-year-old, so we're sitting there. We watched a movie. We had lunch.
Nice.
It was nice and it was quiet. I was like, what do people with 2 kids do all day? Like, what do people do? I was like, I love you 2, but this is getting kind of boring. Like, you guys need to fight or something. Like, something needs to happen.
I
now.
do watch 2 other kids throughout the week, and so a 1 and a 3-year-old, and then my son's 6. So
Oh, like, take that toddlers. Bless you.
yeah, so
Mm-mm.
Tuesday through Friday this week I got them, and it's by the end of the day I go, I just don't know how moms do it full time when they've got that many kids. So bless you. I don't know how you do it.
I only have one
I-
toddler. That's the secret.
Okay. Once they get a little older, maybe it's a little easier. I
5
suppose.
and up is my sweet spot. Like,
Okay.
They're
I
all
could recommend a good doctor.
huh?
I could recommend a good doctor, just so you know, for your husband. He could be on the cutting edge. We have. He's into threads here on Estes. He's a friend of mine.
I
He
actually
did it.
can't have children anymore, so anyone
Oh,
that's
okay.
coming now would be not from my body.
Oh, okay. Well, then your husband's in the clear. But if he ever needs it,
That's weird.
yeah, it was good. A good friend of mine, a steak knife, and a couple beers. We're good to go. No,
Good
it's what
to
he does.
know.
He's a doctor. He's a
I
doctor.
will be sure
No.
to let him know.
So, at any rate, Ed Delgado says he saw a yard sign in a yard with a Biden sign and a Blue Lives Matter
Yeah.
flag.
You know what? You know what we have in Door County now? We have signs popping up for Democrats that say Black Lives Matter, and on the same sign underneath that says "Back the Blue." What? Like, I don't understand. Are they trying to say like?
They're
like-
pandering.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, well, because they know they're getting hammered on that point, obviously.
Mhm.
But I'm like, well, I don't think Black Lives Matter would want you to put that on there. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, look up Dick Morris, dickmorris.com or whatever. He's a former strategist. He actually helped Bill Clinton
Yeah,
win
I
his he won it, helped Bill Clinton win his second term or whatever. Used to be a brilliant guy, although he predicted slaughter by Hillary Clinton, or by Mitt Romney years ago. He
Oh,
predicted a huge Romney win, and he was
Oh,
way
boy.
off.
He was way off. Yeah.
But
The
he
Biden signs help me when we're doing like door to door, because I know which houses I want to go to. You're like
Yeah.
big signal of please come knock on my door and tell me what I don't know. And so I do. And I actually had 2 change their mind. And one was like, take that yard out of my, or that sign out of my yard and put down a sign. And so we took a picture together.
Really?
And it was really funny because and I think some of it was just, I think I told you about this first, where he was just, we were talking about the 1994 crime bill and Bill Clinton.
Uh-huh.
He was like, yeah, but he was just another dirty Republican. I was like,
Oh my gosh.
no, Clinton was a Democrat. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes.
Oh my
So I
gosh,
had him
for
look it up
real?
on his phone. I was like, I want you to look it up. I don't want to walk away here and you think that I'm trying to sell you on something that's not real. And he looked at me.
I feel your pain.
He's like, I can't believe this. He's like, get
Wow.
that sign out of my yard. Put a new one there. I was like, okay,
That's
but
awesome.
just having an understanding mind and going to these people and understanding that at the end of the day, we both want the same thing.
Yeah.
As voters. We both want the same
Yep.
thing. We want peace. We want racial reconciliation. We want lawful officers. We want low taxes and high paying jobs. We want people to be able to come into our country. We want prison reform. We all want these things. It's how we get there. That's the fundamental difference and the impact of each bill that is passed and looking at it objectively, and so when they hear something of, well, we're going to do police reform, Trump is doing prison reform because it starts there. If you change the minds of, the whole prison system and who's going in and what crimes are really bad. I mean, crimes are, and we've talked about this before, but crimes for drugs are held to a way higher standard than crimes against women and children. And so if you can flip that and protect women and children and look at the crimes of drugs and know that that's dangerous. We do have a drug problem here. But what kind of drug problem? I currently have a client that's sitting in jail for 7 years for possession of weed.
Really?
Possession
with intent to sell. But intent.
Wow. 7 years.
19 years old.
Oh wow.
Yep. And look at it. Okay, let's say let's make an assumption. Okay, good behavior. He's out in 3.5 or something like that. Okay. Regardless,
she'll have parole for another 4 years after that.
Regardless, he has to be that'll be on his record for the rest of his life.
Yep.
And that's where I think our criminal justice system needs to allow for people working off their debt, and once it's taken care of, that can be removed, provided it's not, a dangerous crime like murder or rape or something like that.
Aggressive or something against a child, or maybe if you had 3 DUIs, maybe you shouldn't apply to be like a mailman. I don't know, like maybe not a job behind the wheel, something that pertains to that. But if you want to be a banker, I don't see what's wrong with that.
Yeah, well, and it all depends on the seriousness of the DUI, because that's
one thing, like
it's risky.
It was like dramatic, but something that would impair that job, maybe you shouldn't have that job. But otherwise, I think you should be able to vote. I think that it shouldn't come up on your background. I think once you paid your debt to society, but that also changes how arrests happen. Because we're looking at people going, oh, I know that's a 7-year sentence. I need to, because that is dangerous. Okay, bro. She's got pot. Like, I don't like it. I don't like weed. I don't like drugs at all. But come on. It's pot. You've got someone over here, that's raped a woman who will get 6 months in jail.
Oh, that's
you can't prove it, so he probably won't get anything at all. So we just let that go.
Yeah.
Let's just get that girl with pot. That's a problem. But prison reform is police reform, because it changes the entire ideals and what they're looking for on the streets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we need prosecutors to follow through, because the one big complaint you get from a lot of police officers is, well, we catch them, but then they get let go, on other things too. So, but when I was a kid, and I'm older than you guys, but when I was a kid, there was no marijuana, no cocaine, no heroin, no booze, unless you cleaned your plate. So I'm kidding. Okay, now.
Like,
now
what?
now you know what happened. She's like, oh my God, now I know the truth about Paris. No, but seriously, it's so hard, because I'm so torn on the whole marijuana issue, because I recognize that it's not. It is. I think it's habit forming, but I don't think it's addictive. It's not addictive per se. It's similar like cocaine or something like that. But my concern is the whole gateway thing. It is a gateway drug. You can't make it because most people that are caught with some heroin or something like that started out with pot.
Sure.
Hell, they started out with cigarettes.
Concern is with it, and from a lot of people, like brilliant people that I've talked to, is once you legalize it, you can't unlegalize it. And it's trying to assess those concerns of what can this potentially lead to? What potential problems could we have? Let's kind of use Colorado as a beta tester here before we make this a thing. Because once it's there, it's there.
Yeah.
And it's a lot harder to undo something than when it's done. But I do think that as far as like FDA and stuff, they should be using trials on, seizure medication, Alzheimer's, MS. There's so many things that
Cancer.
can treat. And it's not in cancer that doesn't get you high. It's not about the high. But even if you did, is that better than, morphine?
Being miserable.
Or oxycodone?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be better than those types of highs if that was...
It's freaking opium.
Yeah, an opiate. If that was a side effect, is that really the worst? Is that really what we're afraid of? Is someone might feel buzzed? When you get a UTI and the antibiotics say can make you feel dizzy. I feel like this is not a concern in our country as side effects.
That could have saved my mom's life ultimately because she died from effectively. She was addicted to opioids and morphine. And she had like 20 surgeries on her back, a lot of hardware in there over the course of many years. And, her body eventually just quit. I mean, that was it. But there was this addiction cycle and it just never ends. They hand us stuff out like it's candy. And they could have tried something else that could have possibly helped her. I mean, she smoked cigarettes. She could have always, oh my God. Okay. Guys, I'm not running. The entire thread is Paris for Alderman, run. If I run, it would be for state assembly or something like that. So anyway, I don't want to be an alderman. No. Then I have to deal with somebody's dog pooping on someone else's lawn. It is a thankless job.
Have you seen Parks? Have you ever watched Parks and Rec?
A couple episodes.
Oh my gosh, I love that show. It's with Leslie Knope and then Ron Swanson and you have to watch it. It's like she's like the mayor and then like the city council and then there's like the parks. It's the parks department, but then like it's like you deal with. There's one if you look up Citizens of Pawnee on YouTube, it'll show all these different clips from the show of like citizens screaming at these elected officials like just like you're dealing with crazy people when you're running for office. So I'm just saying if you decided to run, you might deal with some crazy people.
I don't know. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll run. I don't know. Local office. I want to stir the pot. I don't want to do that. You guys can run. I'll run your campaigns. I do graphic design, web design. I'll make your websites for you. All right.
All right. Well, it is midnight almost.
Yeah,
almost
I know. I wanted to do an hour show, and here we are, 2 hours.
Oh my God.
She's done. She's so bored. Yeah,
No.
I'm full of energy.
You don't look tired at all.
Soccer practices today. Kindergarten, second grade, worked all day. I am toast.
How do you coach kindergarten? I remember watching my son in kindergarten and soccer, and it's like
help. I'm just the assistant over there. I just help when he needs it. It was so funny. He had to leave because he coaches because I have two kids that play soccer on two different teams. And I have a kindergartner and a second grader. And my kindergartner was playing in a team, and then his coach was like, I've got to go coach my other team. They're starting right now. I'm like, okay, because it was on a different field. So he's like, will you sub in? I was like, yeah, that's fine. And so I get out there, and this little boy, he's so cute. He's just a miniature 5-year-old, and he's got these like dark blue eyes. And he's just itty bitty, and he's running, and he goes, and I'm like, no, Tony, turn around. And his little feet, like, and he kicked it, and he made the goal. And I was like, that's the wrong goal. He goes, I know, Coach Jackie, I know. I was like, why are you going the wrong way? He goes, it's too far. I'm not running that far. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, that's
I
cute.
can't even argue with you.
Oh my
5-year-olds
gosh.
are
Oh,
so
so cute.
logical. They're so
Oh.
logical. They're so no nonsense. I love it.
Yeah, that's my
I
son.
hate. Yeah, I hated that with my oldest when she was little. She would argue with me with logic, and it's like, okay, just listen to me. It's like, in the end, it's like, I thought she'd end up being a lawyer, but she went in. She thought she would be too, but she ended up going into dietetics. So, oh well,
That's funny.
Yeah,
Kids.
they're just so no nonsense, and I just love it.
That's cute.
Oh, kids say the darndest things.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, like my octopus story.
You didn't
You
tell me
guys-
the octopus story. You just sent me an emoji of an octopus. You're like, oh, I have to tell you my octopus story.
Oh, okay. Well, Gabby, my oldest, she was about 4 years old, and it was like Mother's Day, I think, or whatever, one of those days. And we were in the zoo. We went to the zoo. We had a zoo pass so we go to zoo occasionally. So we went to the zoo. We went inside the fish tank area. It's an enclosed building that's usually a little darker. And in there they have this cylindrical fish tank that was dark and had a black light in it. And at the bottom, you could see an octopus sleeping. And mind you, I don't blush much. It's hard for me to get away.
Do a long pause because I'm coming to
yeah.
my own conclusion.
Yeah. Well, all of a sudden the octopus started to move. And it started crawling up the glass. She's like, Dad, at the top of her lungs, Dad, the octopus is moving and you can see its testicles. And all these women are around me and they're just cracking up. And they go, yes, Gabby, you can see its tentacles.
That's cute.
You gotta
Oh my
love.
gosh.
My gosh,
And
that's so funny.
I will tell that story at her wedding. Yes. Okay.
Oh my gosh. That's cute.
Well, anyway, ladies,
so funny.
I appreciate you both joining me tonight. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, it was
we
fun.
got the north and the south covered. Now we got to get the west and northwest and southwest and kind of.
There you go. Cover the whole state.
Absolutely. But Jackie and Stephanie, I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys again. I hope I didn't scare you guys away. Not yet.
Not at all.
You'll come on because you feel sorry for
The
me.
octopus
All
emoji
right.
makes more sense now, though.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
All right.
Well, ladies, have an awesome night, and thank you for being incredibly brilliant. I love it. So,
All right.
Thanks.
love
Good
the
night.
insight. All right.
Bye.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
All right. So that was Jackie and Stephanie. They were on. It was a long show tonight. And thank you for joining me. You guys can catch my article. I'll put a link to it. It's over on Wisconsin Conservative Digest. And you can read all about it. Like I said, it was a big deal for me today. It means a lot that Mark Belling actually read my article. I mean, because he's picky about stuff like that. And then, rightfully so. He's got a show to run. But anyway, have an awesome night, everybody. Thank you for sticking through it. It's a long show on a Wednesday night. And it was nice to be back in the saddle again. I know Monday night I did a show. I wasn't quite myself. I'm still trying to get it, everything back together emotionally and everything else. So at any rate, have an amazing night and stay out of trouble. And remember, we've got like 19 days left. 19 to make a difference. We can pull this off. We can win this. All right. Have an awesome night. Talk to you soon. Good night. Bye.